Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Messina Morris, and today we are about to step into a moment that matters. I have the honor of moderating Leaders Advancing Humanity's Progress today at the She Superhero Engine Summit 2026. This conversation will be centered on what it truly means to lead with humanity at the core. Today, I will bring together women who do not separate innovation from ethics, strategy from care, or progress from responsibility. These are leaders shaping the future with intention, courage, and a deep commitment to people. Again, I am an educator, technologist, futurist, and biomolecular chemist, also known as Dr. Molder of Minds or Dr. Mom. I am a wife and mother of 5 sons, including a son with autism. I'm the director of Metaverse programs and professor of practice at Morehouse College and founder of Metaverse United. It is my honor to guide this dialogue. Now let's advance humanity on purpose. Welcome to the stage, all of these beautiful women. Thank you so much for joining today. It is such a pleasure to see all of your beautiful faces. Let's get down to business and talk about how we as leaders are advancing humanity's progress. But before we do that, let's please start with Dr. Tammy Francis and quick introduction. Let us know who you are.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Tammy. I help you move in the direction of more and prepare for what's next. And I do that in education and in my business. So I look forward to sharing more about that on the panel. Thank you, Dr. Morris.
Thank you, Tammy. Dr. Tammy Francis. Okay, let me have Marion Villa.
Hello everyone, I'm Marian Villa. I work as developer relations at the Interledger Foundation. I focus on building and supporting global community around open, inclusive financial technology. And my work is an intersection between technology, community, and human-centered impact. So that lens strongly shapes how I think about leadership, about innovation and progress. So I'm honored to be part of this panel.
Next, we have Jen Lastra.
Hi, everybody. I am part of a virtual reality safety training company. So we're using VR to save lives for high-risk industries like construction, warehouse manufacturing, giving frontline workers a new perspective on what physical and personal safety actually looks like, sounds like, and feels like. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Jen. And thank you, Marion, too, for your wonderful introduction. I look forward to hearing from you. Let's go to Mary.
Hi everyone. I am excited to be here today, and I am Mary Waweru, the founder of AI Literacy Hub, and I sit at the intersection of people, processes, and technology, and I am excited to be here today for this summit. Thank you.
Next, we have Thalia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zelia. I lead marketing at GoTo, a workforce marketplace in dental and healthcare. My work involves labor, technology, and human outcomes. At GoTo, we publish a state of work survey, comprehensive workforce survey, which is our way of looking at data and lived experiences together to understand how volatility actually shows up in people's lives. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
And finally, we have Sequoia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited about this panel. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of Alexor Spark. We're a consumer insights platform that allows brands to create deeper relationships with their customers. So our goal is to treat the customer with care. And so they're not a disposable entity to the brand. And I am super excited to talk about how we integrate AI into our ecosystem. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Sequoia and Thalia. Now we also have Jabet. She's just joined us. Please introduce yourself, Jabet. Oh, you're on mute, baby. Check your mic. Perfect.
So, hi guys, my name is Chebet Chepkoyo. I work as a program coordinator in Queen of Peace Initiative, which works with indigenous women in northern Kenya. It also work with other community organization in taking digital skills to the indigenous youth in northern Kenya.
Well, welcome, Javette. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you, ladies. I'm just so excited because this is really a chance in a lifetime to be a part of something that is global. I thank our founder of GatherVerse, really pleased at how tightly community is and how we all are able to come together and present timely information in this particular day. Let's get started. In humanities do well and proud to say, and that speaks volumes to me. So, which visionary approaches allow women to accelerate societal impact across industries, in your opinion? And I'm going to start with Sequoia.
So, in my opinion, I believe women should authentically be women. I don't think we need to show up as anything different. That's who God put us here to be. And we have a different perspective, we have a different purview and a different lens. And so, for me in particular, the way I do that is I show up with care, I show up with compassion, I show up with empathy. I think about how we're leading from every perspective. I don't think it needs to be authoritative. I think it needs to be collaborative. And so for me, that's kind of how I navigate the world when it comes to showing up in authentic spaces as a woman and a leader.
I love that so much, especially when you talk about accelerating impact with lived empathy, and women do that very well. Next, could you chime in on that, Mary?
Yes, for sure. For me, my opinion, I think it's important for us to take the approach of community first approach. Whatever we are building, in whatever industry we are, in whatever aspects we are in, it is important for us to build thinking of the community first, thinking of the people that we are building like technology for, thinking about the women, starting from the real problems that women are facing or that our target audiences are facing, and not the other way around, starting from technology and then coming to figure out the problem, but starting from problems and people, then scaling higher. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. That really does bring a true approach of humanity and how women center themselves on trying to understand the people rather than just the problem. So, Jen, could you explain, since you work in safety, especially, what visionary approaches that you see allow women to accelerate societal impact, especially in an industry where you're trying to keep the world safe?
Well, and in safety, I mean, the latest thing that they've had in safety to make training and education more impactful is like PowerPoint and Kahoots, which is like a quiz answering thing. So how do you bring um, real life situations that could cost someone their life? And how do you create simulations that are emotionally engaging, impactful, but don't create maybe even like a PTSD effect? And so again, it goes back to creating content that is memorable, engaging, appropriate. And so it goes back to being a content creator that's using really strong ethics and morals. As we know with VR, you can change people's belief systems. And so we need to be mindful and thoughtful of that. But I love the technology, especially for our youth, when it comes to creating those behavior-based thought processes through expert role modeling, so that we can help them on the front end before they actually step on a construction site or in a high-risk industry, so they're better prepared. So it's giving that experience, that storytelling is really, really impactful.
I love it. I love it. Marion, and then Jabet.
So I think women accelerate impact when we operate as connectors. So linking technology with community, with life experience and innovation with real human needs. I think when you are thinking about the scaling products to a scaling access, for example, in fintech, education, or in the developer ecosystem, impact doesn't come from more features. It comes from lowering barriers to more people can actually participate and have a voice on what we are building.
Jabet, your mic, Jabet. I know what you're saying is juicy, girl, because you were working it. Your mic again, sweetie. Jabet, Jabet, we can't hear you. Now, oh, one more time. Try it again. There you go. There you go.
Sorry. So I'm seeing that to accelerate the impacts, first we need to ensure that it is equally distributed, and then we make sure that it is centered to the people that they are built for. Uh, in the community that we work with, we make sure that we establish first the trust with the people, and then establish the problem that those people have, so that whatever you build, you ensure that it is going to help the people directly. Uh, I think that is all that I have when it comes to that.
Awesome. Dr. Tammy.
So I really think that part of this approach that we need to have is really looking at what is the human need, and then what are the barriers that are keeping someone from advancing, from the impact that we are seeking to serve, and then implement strategy. I'm all about purpose, I'm all about strategy, and that's that. No matter where I'm in the classroom or in the boardroom, that's where I start. And I think that you have to implement some kind of strategy or tool, and if that's technology, it's technology, and then you have to action. A lot of things, we have these conversations and grand conversations around how can we move things forward, how can we accelerate societal impact, and it's talk, but we have to implement and then measure that impact. Like, what is that measurement? Was it really effective? Did it really impact those that we were intending to serve? So I think part of this approach is really having this process, and I think of everything as a progression and and that framework or approach. So I think that we need to lead with purpose and not position.
Very interesting that you drove it back to data. A lot of times we are always in analysis mode as women anyway, intuitively, and looking at the real numbers. What is the truth? We always looking for the truth. Where is the truth and where does that lie? So that we can actually make real change. Thalia, do you want to round us off on this question about what visionary approaches women can use?
Yeah, of course. So, on that same thread of truth, I think a visionary approach that allows women to accelerate societal impact is also something that women tend to be very good at, which is naming the real problem, the root cause of the issue that our technology is trying to solve. I think that it is very easy to be a painkiller or treat the symptomatic ongoings of whatever problem that either your technology or solution is trying to combat. But with our audience at GoTo, our audience that is predominantly female was very good at naming the root cause and the systemic issues that was creating the staffing crisis. And so while a more a less empathetic or human centric group of people may say, no, we just need more hygiene schools. We need more people. What we found is by listening to our audience and by our teams predominantly female, looking deep within, we realized that it was more of an issue about income satisfaction, about feeling valued, feeling respected, burnout. And that allows us to curate our technology and our programs to accelerate societal impact, but also get positive business outcomes at the same time.
I love that. I love that. We're going to move on because we have so much to cover. But I love what each of you all said. And what it all boils down to me is the ability for women to design solutions that scale but also heal. And now we want to talk about those frameworks that help guide organizational strategy. So, a lot of you talked about centering humanity at the beginning of our talk. You talked about that being some of the part of the visionary approach. How do you really prioritize people before products? And how do you prioritize purpose before profit? What kind of models can you lean into that could actually help to integrate ethical foresight, stakeholder dignity, and long term societal return, and not just focus on short term metrics? So, what frameworks do you lean into, Sequoia, when you are dealing with trying to come up with a strategy that actually focuses towards humans?
That's a great question. So, our entire platform is built off of data, consumer insights. And so, when we look at brands who are engaging with their consumers, we're not looking at them as a price, like a purchase of products. We are literally looking at them as an even exchange in value. So, how do you not just say, hey, buy my products, but how do we also compensate the consumer? How do I incentivize them? How do I say, hey, here's an extra, 20% off because you gave us feedback to tell us if our product is functioning well in the market, or here's free shipping, what have you, right? And so I think you can't look at your consumer as a product themselves. You actually have to look at it as an even exchange in value. And that is how reciprocity happens. And so that's structurally how we make that happen within our organization.
I love the idea of you talking about the reciprocity. So many people have issues with privacy and all of those kind of things when it comes to emerging technology, especially now. So, Jen, how do you counteract that in the work that you do?
So our whole design process has the learner at the forefront of it. What are the types of things that a trainer can't easily explain? We recreate that for the learner so that it's something that they can experience. And so really when we're looking at safety training, where are the common injuries and fatalities taking place, and then replicating those types of environments and situations and allowing them to practice through these things. So it's really about identifying what are the one or two golden nuggets that we need to help reinforce, and being very intentional about how we create that for the best like learning outcomes, if you will. So it's all about designing around the learner themselves.
Thank you. So we have about 15 minutes left in this conversation, and we have a lot of questions. So I'm going to kind of speed run this and ask you all to give me like your shortest, most concise answer for the next questions, because I really want to lean into these questions that we have that talk about barriers. So I'm going to skip ahead to which barriers persist to scaling women led human impact globally, because we talked a lot about how women impact humanity, especially in these technological spaces. But what are the barriers that you see? Thalia, could you start there?
Yeah, of course. So to me, one big barrier is that human outcomes are still seen as secondary across industries until there's a crisis. So capital, procurement, policy, revenue often reward speed and efficiency over resilience or human centric outcomes. So, women led initiatives can be harder to scale because they refuse to grow in ways that quietly transfer risk to other people. I think that that's a significant outcome that has to be intentionally confronted and deconstructed to solve. It requires a very nuanced approach, in my opinion.
That is very interesting, and I hope that is going to be changing with more women joining the workforce and collaborating together. Sequoia, chime in on that.
Sure. So when I think about barriers and what we go through as women, I feel like we have to kind of rise up to our male counterparts, and that's not necessarily the case. We need to just perform from the perspective of what we know as women and navigate in that way. And I think that's how we can navigate those barriers, because we just have a very different perspective and lens as to how to move through the world. And instead of saying, hey, let me be like this man, it's like, no, I'll be myself authentically, and that will make me the cream rises to the crop, right? Or the top. So that'll allow me to get to where I need to be. So that's what I would say in terms of navigating.
Do you think that there's a lot of fear between women who want to authentically be themselves, but they're up against
I
all
do. I absolutely think there's a lot of fear. And for me, I've had venture backed tech companies. This is my second venture backed tech company. And what I've learned is the second time around, just be you, because at the end of the day, they're going to accept you or they're not. And either way, the people who are supposed to be a part of your tribe and who are supposed to be a part of your organization will come to you anyway. So I just stop appeasing other people and just do what I need to do in order to be successful. And the people that gravitate to me just do.
That's a wonderful piece of advice. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sequoia. Jabet, please chime in on that.
Uh, so, some of the barriers that we have encountered or have encountered as individual is one, there is unequal access to capital to many of the organizations, especially in these sides of the world. And also there is limited representation in decision-making spaces, like even in our parliamentary spaces, even in the tech spaces, and the leadership, there's less women that are representing our needs. And also there is structural bias. That is very obvious. Even the people in the first world countries also experience that. And also we have restrictive social norms. I know that is not felt in every part of the world, or not as hard as it is felt in some of these places where the indigenous communities, where the social norms are taken very seriously. The second thing is that women often carry disappropriate unpaid labor. As we know that women are expected to do so much for so little. So you have to do the work that you are supposed to do, or that you are assigned to do as a woman. And then now you have to take some time to do innovative work or build your organization or your company, which takes a toll on women. The third thing is that uh, the women-led initiative, they struggle so much in scaling because they're perceived as a local organization, or they are informal organization. People tend to see it as a very small thing, and it is very difficult for them to be given fundings, and also to raise funds on their own or in different spaces, because they are considered informal, or people assume that they don't know what they are doing. So, in conclusion, the scaling requires that we make a transformation of the whole system, which is going to take some time, but we know that we will eventually be there.
That was very interesting and very insightful. You mentioned a lot, from social norms to the perspectives of women being seen as not as professional or not as adept as other men or their other counterparts. And those are real, true systemic barriers in many parts of the world, to be quite honest. So I applaud each and every one of you all for standing steadfast in your industries. Now, Marian, I want to know, which ethical innovation challenges actually require proactive women-led governance that you've seen in the work that you do?
Yes, I think in the work we do, we will see like data ownership and consent. That's a key challenge. Other will be financial inclusion, taking women, not seeing them as weaker, but because they are operating ethically within a broken system. So trying to hack like the system and include them to make like products center in their needs. And also, if we are talking about AI systems, we need to be there to try to fight to don't reinforce existing bias, because there are bias in the world, and especially in AI we need to work directly with the ethical AI. And I think when we look for women-led governance, this really matters, because if we prioritize them in a long-term human impact over a short-term optimization, we will feel included, and the systems are not going to reward speed and growth. They will reward sustainability and care. Also, supporting women for the unpaid or emotional labor that women leaders uh, have.
That was really deep. That was you said a mouthful there. I don't even know that I can add anything. But Mary, if you could chime in, based on what you do as the founder of AI Literacy Hub, what ethical innovation challenges actually require you to be proactive?
Yeah, I agree with everything Marianne has said. But to add on that, when we talk about stuff like AI taking jobs, I believe that ethical innovations to ensure that women are at the forefront of upskilling themselves, learning all these digital skills, understanding the digital skills, being at the forefront so that they are not left behind. And also, there's a lot of misuse, a lot of data privacy issues that arise with AI tools and all these tools that are coming up. So, standing at the point of ethical innovation, ensuring that every tool that is created, every tool that we use, also ensuring that we are also giving feedback. When you use a tool and you feel like it's not ethical, there's one issue or two issues, two ethical issues not being misused. It is important for opening up the feedback loop so that even the creators of these tools can understand what we as users or we as consumers are feeling about the tool.
Now, that is a remarkable thought, especially when you talk about closing that feedback loop, because a lot of times people are really leery about the information that they put out and how that even them saying a signal, a thumbs up or thumbs down on a response from AI will affect the types of responses that they get or anything like that. So it's really good that you mentioned that. We're going to push forward because this is about leaders and leadership. And all of you women are leaders. And I want to talk about the leadership mindset that enhances resilience under these complex global pressures. And I want us to end here. We have 5 minutes left, and I want to get a response from everyone. But what is your number one leadership mindset that allows you to remain resilient? And I'll start first. Mine is focusing on family, to be honest. Thalia.
For me, it's explaining trade offs, whether it's managing up or managing down, explaining the nuances of the choices that we make as leaders and what implications that has for our team, especially things that are a bit women centric, like team members with families or team members with children. Explaining to my CEO, hey, our new hire is going to be coming in at 9:30 so she can do school drop off, but she's incredibly talented and she's a worthwhile asset to this team. And so for me, I feel like just transparency and sponsorship while explaining those trade-offs is incredibly valuable in protecting resilience, especially for women.
Awesome. What about you, Jen? Could you tell me a leadership mindset?
Unconditionally me first. got to take care of this first. My mental health is the most important thing in order to lead. And so I have to put myself first on the top of the to-dos at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day.
I love it. I love that so much. Close the loop on yourself. Okay, Dr. Tammy, your mic.
Purpose.
Yes.
Purpose is what you do and the impact you make. It's not this thing that's abstract and this thing out there that people don't understand. And I think it's doing what matters with intention, and it's being intentional.
I love it. I love it. Jabet, your mic, babe. You got it.
And now I'm going to remember this. So what I'm saying is that for me, it is integrity, because people out there expect you to go there and give them credible information, and I have to have the highest form of integrity to tell them that this is this, and not be biased in any way. That is it. Thank
I
you.
love it. Mary,
Thank you for this. I agree with what everyone has said. And to add on two things. The first one is forging collaborations globally. Like all of us here are from different sides of the world. Imagine what we could create if we collaborate. As long as we align in our values and we align in what we are doing, we could create so much value out of it. And number two is investing in ourselves. Let us continue investing in ourselves, whether it's upskilling, whether it's taking that career risk, whatever it is that matters to you, invest in yourself. Thank you.
okay, one word from Marion and one word from Sequoia as we wrap today.
Yes, so I will add adaptive leadership. So accepting uncertainty as a permanent condition, not a temporary phase, and we need to not just be top, is being aligned. And I'm agree with all the other words.
And finally, Sequoia.
God, thank you.
Girl, you better, girl. Listen, and that's it, and that's all. We are leaders advancing humanity's progress. Get into it. Thank you so much, ladies. This was such a valuable gather. I enjoyed each and every one of you, and let us collaborate and continue to gather well. Thank you, GatherVerse, for this She Summit. Bye bye.